I'm trying to find somewhere with good light. It's proving difficult. I think it's just a bit of a downcast day today, so it is what it is. Also, my hair is crazy, and I apologise for this, but I am a nighttime showerer, so I feel like I've woken up this morning and it is just absolutely mad. That is the number one sign that it is time for a haircut. So, obviously, lately I have not been as good at doing these updates and reviewing books as I was in the swing of. So, I'm going to sort of catch you up and we'll talk through what I've read in the past few weeks now rather than past week, and what I'm reading at the moment and what I'm planning to. So I'm going to get my Goodreads and we'll go through, let's go to 2026 reading challenge. That's the best way of being able to go through the most recent in chronological order. Challenge details. So I have been in a very busy, relatively stressful period. So I've actually listened to a lot of audiobooks while I've been doing a bit of traveling. And I don't know, it's just been my go-to. I feel like when I've been doing things, I've been able to listen to books, particularly, moving around places. But even at home, and I had some time off last week from work because I booked it off manual leave because we're almost at the end of the year, so it was time to get in the last few days. Went with some friends to see Ray in Manchester. That was incredible. Now, I don't know if I talked about in the last update Deadly Care by Simon McCleave. I might have been just reading it at the time. So I read this on Kindle, which is on Kindle Unlimited. I could have showed it you on there, but it was a nice colour photo on Goodreads. I really enjoyed it. I actually really like the Marshals of Snowdonia series. The one thing I'm a little bit sad about is that I think there's only 4 books, and I don't know if he plans on writing any more. I think maybe it's a bit like the Anglesey ones, where they're just not as long of a series. The other ones were obviously Ruth's prequel series, so they're the Snowdonia Killings series. They did a prequel from when Ruth was still working in London, working for the Met, which obviously that was really good. Really, really enjoyed that. I actually was really surprised by how it keeps such a great tone. It feels like the same family, if not the same series, despite the fact one takes place in, the capital city of the UK and the other is in really small towns and villages in North Wales. So loved that. Really, really loved that. And I'm always looking forward to the next Snowdonia Killings books. The Marshals of Snowdonia was absolutely no different. So I like the storyline that has progressed through the first 3 books about Frank Marshall's daughter and her involvement with her ex-partner, the father of her child, and like how that has put them at danger and how that has followed them to North Wales. I really, really enjoyed that, and I can't wait to see how that progresses in the final book and see if we finally get a resolution. At the end of this book, something happens which I think sets the final book into motion. So we know what the final book is going to be about. I don't want to say any more and spoil that, but I will say I really do recommend this because it's been really enjoyable. The next book that I read was it was a listen one. I listened to this, and this is Open Heaven by Sean Hewitt. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I read it. So basically, the reason I read so many is because I had 3 Libro FM credits for the price of 1. It was a new sign up thing. I mentioned that I was going to make the change from Audible to that app, and I have done, and it's been really good. So, one of the books that I bought with my credits was Open Heaven. Really, really gorgeous. there's been so much talk about male yearning and sort of the place of male romance. This is really different in the sense that it's it's sort of an unrequited love story that's not unrequited at all. It is about different types of love and friendship and the sort of boundaries of romance and how important people can be to each other, despite the fact that they're important to each other for very different reasons. And just that feeling of being like in love for the first time and discovering those feelings, but not really knowing what to do with them or where to put them, especially when you're a teenager and you're sort of already thinking about, well, what's life going to be like when I leave home? Like, I can remember really distinct experiences like that. Not in the same way, not in like the unrequited romantic love sense, but in the discovering someone that makes you excited for what comes after your hometown, but also shows you where you live and where you've grown up through new eyes. You know, seeing the place that you maybe feel quite conflicted about through somebody else's eyes can be a really powerful experience. And so I also really enjoyed that. And the fact that it's about somebody going back as an adult to explore that place just because it's something that has persisted and stuck with them over time was gorgeous. Really, really loved it. Just 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. And it's not a long book either, I don't believe. Although saying that, I've not actually checked. Let me have a look. I don't know if it shows me a page count, and I don't know if that's just because I'm on the mobile app. But anyway, I don't think it's a long book. I'm sure I've seen it in person in like bookshops, and I don't think it's long. Another one that I listened to because I had my 3 credits was Futbolista by Jonny Garza Villa. Now this, I should make the picture bigger. Really, really gorgeous. Think of this like the football heated rivalry, but it's not a heated rivalry at all. So I don't know why I said that. It's a sports-based romance that brings with it the complications of, a homophobic sport, and there not being many out figures in that sport, but also with a sort of coming of age romance and a love story because they're, it's set in university, in college if you're not from the UK. So it's about that, like discovering yourself away from your parents for the first time. And again, similar to the previous book, I suppose, in that there is, a line of borderline resentment for the constraints you've been put in, but then when you see things through somebody else's eyes, how gorgeous they can become. This was just fun, start to finish. Even the drama, it was just really well put together as a novel and as a story, and it was nice having a bisexual main character where that is really fully explored. It really, really was fantastic, and I cannot recommend enough. If you're just looking for something fun, but also deeply moving, there's a subtlety to how their romance begins, and I think also about the stories that people tell themselves when they're not ready to sort of look deeper towards the things that they're feeling, but they know are there. And it's not like an immediately physical book either. There is just this love that grows over time and, begins as friendship and ends as romance. And I think it was it was a really nice book to listen to while I was doing a lot of traveling. I was up and down on the train from, Cardiff to Manchester and back last week. And it was just a great sort of accompaniment. It was really nice. So again, that's another one to recommend. It's been actually a really, really good week for reading, just a couple of weeks for things that were just pleasant. So this is Once Upon a You and Me. Hang on, let me get that. So the light is not reflecting. And it's by Timothy Janowski. So this is... I'm still reading this. It's about a divorced man and his ex-wife's assistant. So there's a sort of a tale of forbidden love there. I'm about 70% of the way through it, so you know, I mean, it's a romance, so we know how it's going to finish. But I have really enjoyed how this one's been playing out, and there is just such a undercurrent of respect to this one that these two characters have for each other that I find really moving. You know, they are in different phases of life. One is divorced, and one is, you know, not really found that love of their life yet, despite, you know, being on the lookout for it. Sorry, I had to get up then because the cat was sat on my work laptop. So this is my lunch break. It's 12 as I'm recording this, and the cat was sat on it making it beep, and it was making such a weird noise. I was like, I'm gonna have to get her off. The joys of having cats. Yeah, so Once Upon a You and Me it's sort of set on this holiday resort. So ex-husband, he sells his stake in the business to his ex-wife, but he stays on as general manager. He works there for years. Wife is very ambitious, whereas he is very content just sort of doing his job and having, you know, as nice of a life as he can. But life takes a back burner to the job. So there's something that they both have in common. They have just sort of, I think, assumed this is where my priority needs to be for now. Maybe something will happen again in the future, maybe it won't. And they've just sort of let that roll down the road, both of them. So that's what they have in common. I really enjoyed it for just how tender and sweet it was. I think like that's sort of the emotional state I'm in at the moment. Feel like I've been quite stressed, and having that sort of sweet and lightness to the books that I've been reading has been really, really nice. Although I did start with obviously a detective murder mystery, but there we are. I've also started The Artist's Way again. I've probably talked about this previously, but I didn't finish it the last time I did it. I just can't for the life of me work out why. I mean, it did sort of overlap with Rob's ear surgery, so it sort of just took a back burner. I've been really working at it, doing my morning pages. This is the notebook I picked for my morning pages and for my written tasks. You do like written tasks every week. You do things like the artist date where you go out, and it's basically just like a 12-week course to help you rediscover your creativity and sort of interweave it back into your life. So it's basically about carving out time to do creative things that bring you joy, make you happy. And I've really been enjoying it. And the first time I did it, I didn't necessarily feel that blocked. I just thought, okay, this will be an interesting thing to do. Whereas lately, I think the stress of life has sort of had an impact on my enjoyment of doing creative things, and especially writing. It's just really put a full stop on that for me. So being able to sort of do that again, because I've been going through this, I'm only on week 2, about to go into week 3 on Wednesday. I started on a Wednesday, which is a terrible choice, but I just thought strike while the iron's hot while I had the motivation. And a friend of mine is doing it as well, so we're sort of moving through at a similar pace. And it really is recommended you don't share your morning pages and you don't talk too much about what comes up. But it is just nice being able to say like, oh yeah, I had a good week with it. Oh, I struggled this week with it. That's quite good. But I am seeing just the practice of writing 3 pages every morning, no matter what, and sort of thinking differently about some of the written tasks in a way that the first time I think I thought about it very surface level, and I feel like I can go deeper now because I've done it before. I can sort of push myself a little bit further. I think I got to like week 10 or 11 last time, so it's only a 12-week course, so I'm enjoying it. I'm giving it my all, and we'll see how we go. But yeah, it's been a good few weeks. Currently, obviously, I'm reading Once Upon a You and Me. That will be probably finished this evening, and then I'm honestly not sure what I'm going to read next. Obviously, I was really into the Slough House series, so maybe I'll pick up another one of them. I just have quite a few books at the moment, so I'm not quite sure which one to go for. I also bought a book the other day called The Dinner Lady Detectives. Need I say more? It is by Hannah Hendy, so I am really looking forward to reading that. I feel like it'll be a really fun one, and it's a cozy mystery. What's not to love? So let me know what you're reading. If you've read any of the books I've talked about, please let me know. Share what you're reading. Again, if you've done The Artist's Way, share that with me, because any motivation, any tips, any insights you gleaned from it, please do let me know. And have a gorgeous week. Get loads of stuff done. Read. Breathe some fresh air outside. And I'll see you next week.